So, good afternoon, everybody. I'm definitely scaling down this book to a more palatable version that is not so wordy, so many rabbit holes of science, because science is like taking apart words and, well, taking apart ideas and words and then redirecting people down a rabbit hole so you don't make the bigger connection. And so when I learned about Henrietta Lacks immortal germline cells, I'm like, oh shit. It's not like she's not specialer or anything. She's just like all of us. We're all made up of Hydra, and we all have germline cells that if we were to feed the cells the nutrients and they regenerate, we all could be immortal, like Henrietta Lacks immortal cells. And so when science wants to use her and her family as a representation of immortality that was done back in the 1950s, you would think that she had something that other people didn't. No, she has everything other people have. You're seeing so many smoke and mirrors in the science community, which really pisses me off when you think about it, because it's like developing yet another storyline on top of a storyline that then has you go off into this direction and go down a rabbit hole and be completely distracted, not realizing that the main bottom line is we all are made up of Hydra that are immortal. And if we just fed ourselves with the nutrients and released and allowed to redevelop and regenerate, we would be just as immortal as Henrietta's cells were and can still be. And we don't have to die to find this out. So Henrietta Lacks passed away from some kind of cancer, and they took, her cancer cells and studied them, and then made it sound like she was different than most people. But what they found is that what was it? Henrietta Lacks cancer was a uniquely aggressive case, and her biopsy sample doubled in volume every 20 to 24 hours, where other cultures would normally die out. So yeah, if you have other cells that are not the germline cells, they are, I forget the name of them, but if there are other cells that don't regenerate the way hers did, then yeah. But that's like anybody can take, a cancer cell and feed it food and it keeps generating. It's like you give a kid food. As long as you give a kid food, which is basically cancer, then they will keep growing and growing until there is senescence, a deterioration because of lack of food and too much life within that organism. And so if they were fed the right mixture of nutrients to allow them to grow, the cells were effectively immortal. Well, that's the same thing as humans. If you are fed the right mixture of nutrients, which is basically all food in the food supply, and you release the excess Hydra, the baby cells, the baby Hydra that are cannibalizing you, you wouldn't pass away. Okay? And that's basically what's going on, is that we have so much life within us. We are immortal, but the life within us is killing us. And so we have to then release some of that life so it doesn't turn into a cannibalistic type of situation. Just like, you let your kids now go and leave the nest, if that is something that you can do, so they don't cannibalize you and eat you out of house and home. All right, or you put a stop to the kids borrowing money or taking money or whatever resources from you parents, so that way you can live and they can figure out how to do it on their own. And so Henrietta Lacks cancer is no different than any other cancer out there. Okay, they're like, oh yeah, sugar feeds cancer. Everything feeds cancer. You give any kind of cancer food or nutrients. Come here, sugar. It will keep growing and growing and growing. So that's what they do. The people try to starve the cancer. They try to attack it with aggressive elements, but then what you're effectively doing is you're causing reproduction. You're causing the cancer to multiply and multiply, even with an antibiotic, because then you're causing conception. So antibiotic causes then a new culture, which is then new little babies to go and attack the person at some point, or food will keep feeding the cancer. Okay, that's fine, but then while you're feeding the cancer, you're feeding yourself, and you have to release. And so you, as the parent cell, must then be the one to govern the release process, so you're not holding on to such diverse babies, such diverse children in your body, which is why people are dying, because there's so much conflict in their gut that they're not able to keep the parent alive, because the parent is desiccating. The parent is being cannibalized from the inside from all the diverse life. And so the parent must be the one to put their foot down and say, Time to leave the nest, children. I'm releasing you into the sewer system. You don't attack your children in your body. You don't attack your children out there. You release your children into the wild, okay? And let them fend for themselves. You release your microbial children into the sewer system, into the drainage, so they can go and fend for themselves, because they will find a way. They won't die. They'll just go and reproduce somewhere else, at least not within your body, okay? And so, yeah. So I'm going through all my other chapters that I had so much information, and I'm just deleting, because it's nonsense. It's like, that was just my study material. That was my studying. And now I'm putting it all together, and I'm going to drop certain words here, drop certain words there when it's appropriate. You, as a reader, will Google it if you don't know, or I might put in, even like in a footnote, a link that you may not want to go and copy. So just Google what T cell, B cell, antibody, antigen, antibody, blood type, ABO, RH factor. I'm dropping all these different words from the science community to give you a bigger picture. And then those who are discerning will go and Google it and figure out where I'm coming from and know. But I'll give you essentially where I'm coming from. But if you want to do more research on my words, you can, to make sure that it makes sense in the bigger scheme of things, especially if you've been compartmentalized and only studied blood types and only studied germline cells and only studied certain things, okay? So right now I am just, I'm on fucking point this week. I'm going to knock this book out this week, okay? That's what I plan to do, because I finally am at a point now where I figured everything out. And the Hydra are the root of it all. They're in water. You are 60% water. You have so much Hydra that's in your blood and in your plasma, and they are the T cells, the B cells, they are the regulators, they are the antibodies, they are the antibody programming, they are in your blood, they are the white blood cells, they are the red blood cells, they are part that help with the platelets and developing that. They are everything, okay? And for me to go and try to break everything down to its most, chemistry state is pointless. You got to know the bigger picture, and then realize that you can't attack anything in your body that's made up of a diverse life form. You can't attack it. You have to release it. And so while people won't understand that, that's okay. At least some of you will, and you won't attack anything. You'll just release it. And there is a way to do that, and I will have that in the Jelly Juice journey on how to release, because there is a very specific way you have to release. And it's not glamorous. Believe me, it's not. But at this point, if you want to be independent of the medical holistic system, that means that you don't use any machines or devices until your body is able to get off the machines and devices. Well, you don't use machine devices at some point. If you need to for a certain amount of time because of your size or because of your comfort level, do what you have to do. But eventually you need to get off all the machines, get off all the devices that are aiding you in releasing, get off all the aggressive elements, because all you need to do is eat food. You're not trying to do any kind of flush anymore, except for once a year with salt and water, and that's it. And you will be so self-sufficient, and you will feel like today I felt the hot and the cold, and my dog is releasing. You want sugar? Want to come outside, sugar? She's releasing. She's drinking water. She's sitting down. She's so cute. She's my little puppy. And so, and she's feeling stuff. She's feeling the energy. She shakes a little bit because her body is releasing the mass that's under her belly. So, and so the mucus, if you don't release that mucus in the body, it will organize and turn into cancer, disease, chronic illness, autoimmune disorders, polyps, teratomas, cancers, everything under the sun. And so now you must understand that you have to be the one to control everything. You have to control your first brain, which is your gut, and then your second brain, which is what's called the Hounsfield unit, and that's made up of gray matter, white matter, and soft tissue. Okay? And so now you get that he who controls the first brain and the second brain will control your genetic continuity. And so now you be the one to control your first and second brain. Don't let biotech or the mainstream media or anyone in the medical holistic control your first and second brain. When your environment changes, you have to adapt to it, and you will be breathing in T cells and B cells and T cell regulators, which is basically Hydra, that are programmed, and you're going to have to adapt, and you will change. You will change with the environment. But at least you know how to release, Your body will take on whatever nanotechnology is in the atmosphere, and you will release the excess, and you will evolve with this environment. And then you won't be subject to the misery of trying to evolve when you have already figured out how to release and how to retain. But right now, those who are dealing with the died suddenly situation, they are resisting the evolution. And so they're going to fucking suffer. And I don't know how else to break it to them that you're going to have to adapt, but you will. And you have the means to now. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.